The following feature presentation is part of the Skywalking Network.
Hey, Bryn.
Yes?
Totally tell me everything.
About what?
About theme parks! Song is so cute. Yay!
Woo!
Well, welcome everyone to Totally Tell Me Everything, the show where we learn about the world, about each other, and about ourselves. And here each month we choose one topic, or are we calling it a subject? What do you think, Bryn?
Ooh, I mean, we've always said topic.
Topic.
Subject is fine too. I mean, they could be interchangeable.
Okay, let's try subject this month.
Okay, this month's subject.
So each month we choose one subject and explore it in depth with 3 questions. And this month it's theme parks. With the reopening of the theme parks around the world after the pandemic, it's kind of reawakened the theme park child in both of us, right?
Yes.
So first of all, I guess we should introduce ourselves. I am Sarah Woloski from Skywalking Through Neverland.
And I'm Bryn McKinnon from A Window to the Magic podcast.
So theme parks. All right. Well, first of all, before we get into this, so like Disneyland opened.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
As of, what was that, April 30th now?
Wow.
Yes.
Time is so weird in the pandemic
Yes.
times and this time. Just what is time? And April was that this year? Was that 6 years ago? I don't know. Could be.
Exactly. Yeah, and if you haven't seen, like, you know, a bunch of us from the Skywalking Network went on opening day. I know I've been 4 times to Disneyland. I also went to Legoland and I believe, Knott's Berry Farm as well. So like all in the space of a month. It was crazy. And now, Bryn, have you been to the theme park since they reopened?
I have. My first venture back into a theme park, I believe, was Knott's Berry Farm with you.
Oh, okay.
For the 100th anniversary party or the press thing. And then I feel like a few days later I went to Universal Studios Hollywood.
Oh.
So I had this weird thing where I said to myself, I'm not going back to theme parks. And then I got really sad and the theme parks were opening. And then you all invited me to go to Knott's Berry Farm. And then I was going to try to spend a day with my kid. And we always like to go to theme parks. And so I was like, I'm just going to let the floodgates open. I'm going to buy us annual passes to Universal. And so went to Knott's, then went to Universal once. No, I've been there twice. And then I went to not Disneyland. I went to California Adventure with you.
Yes, for Avengers Campus.
Yep. So I've been 4 times to three different places.
Okay, cool.
It's weird.
Well, yay. It is weird. Like, it's so weird because that was like, well, living in LA like we do, it's kind of a theme park capital, you know.
Yeah.
They're all around.
Yep.
And so we go several times a year to various ones of them, you know, and to have them closed down for over a year was very strange.
It was strange. And I definitely sort of shut that part of me off for that time because knowing that you couldn't even go, for me, I just was like, all right, then that needs to just go dormant. Like I need to not even think about it because if I think about it too much, I will be way too sad. So I just shut it off.
Yeah. And I think that's interesting because I know a lot of people like kind of had to do that, or they just kind of got depressed, like those of us who are used to going every week or every month. And so it kind of, I think theme parks just kind of bring out the kid in us, right?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. I mean, yes. That's the whole point, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So that kind of brings us to kind of our first question here, which is, what has been our favorite theme park experiences as kids, as teens, as adults? And so we're going to kind of pick and choose like which ones we're going to answer. But I think we should go back to our kid years.
Yeah.
And talk about theme parks.
Where it starts.
Bryn,
yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to share like a memory you have as a kid?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So I did grow up in Southern California in Orange County, and one of my very earliest memories of a theme park was going to Knott's Berry Farm with my dad. Normally the whole family would go to the theme parks, and I don't remember why it was just my dad and me, but it was. And I was probably 8 or 9, and my dad realized I had never ridden a roller coaster before that went upside down. So he said, "Do you want to go upside down?" And I said, "Okay, sure." So we got in line for the Corkscrew at Knott's Berry Farm. It's a steel roller coaster. It was a steel roller coaster at the time. It's not around anymore, but it was a corkscrew, like loop, not a loop-de-loop, but it went upside down. It inverts you.
Right. Okay.
So we get on, and I need to give you a little backstory because my dad was a fighter pilot in the Air Force, and not at the time, but he had been. And so we get on the ride, we sit down, and we strap ourselves in, and then it starts. And as soon as it starts, his hand like goes to my knee and like clamps on my knee. And he was sort of like grabbing my knee like he was scared. And I was like 8 or 9 or whatever, and totally fine and not scared at all. And so it was really fun. We did the twistiness, and he was holding onto my knee, kind of like a death grip on my knee the whole time. And then the ride stops, and I had a great time, and he kind of releases his hand, and he was like, "You okay?" And I'm like, yeah. And I thought to myself, "Are you okay?" But later we talked about it when I was an adult, because I didn't talk to him about it then, but I remembered it, and I talked to him about it when I was an adult, and he said, "I guess because I was so used to being in control when I would do barrel rolls in the airplane or whatever in the jet, that I didn't like giving up the control. So that must be why I was, holding on for dear life, because I was concerned." Anyway, I thought that was hilarious, but it's a great memory, and it's, and I love Knott's Berry Farm, especially as a kid. It was so fun.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. I can see that. Like when you're used to being in control of that situation.
Yeah, right?
To leave it all to a roller coaster and inertia and acceleration, which we're going to talk about later.
Woohoo. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's my story.
So
early kid memory.
Cool. I kind of have a similar experience as a kid. So in the show notes, I have this title, "My Dad and Roller Coasters, My Mom and Coffee."
Oh, yeah, because that's what you think about when you think about theme parks.
Yes. So what's really funny is, like, when I was a kid, I was like you. I was, like, fearless. And I was like, let's go on all these cool things. I was totally the risk taker. And I remember wanting to go on roller coasters before I was the right height for them.
Yeah.
And I'm short for my age. Like, I'm always like the shortest or second shortest person in my class whenever you take like those class pictures.
Yeah.
So I grew up in Austin, Texas, and there's no theme parks technically right there, but they're all around. So like an hour away is Fiesta, Texas, which is in San Antonio. There is Six Flags over Texas, over, up in Dallas, and all kinds of, those are the main ones. But then, yeah, there's other theme parks too, but those are the ones that had like the big roller coasters. Mm-hmm. And Fiesta Texas is now Six Flags Fiesta Texas, but before that, it was its own theme park.
Yep.
And so that's when I went to this theme park with my parents. And so my first experience on a roller coaster was the Rattler.
Ooh.
And this is this wooden roller coaster, and it's built into a cliffside.
Cool.
It's amazing looking. And so like half of the roller coaster is like kind of on the cliff and then it like drops down and the other parts of it is all the wood, you know?
Wow.
And I don't think there's a corkscrew or anything
Okay.
on that one. But what's really cool about it is when you're walking around the park, not on the coaster, you can hear it rattle.
Oh, nice.
And it's literally like, you know, the train cars go by and it's like, it's like, oh, and you like freak out. You look up and like the whole roller coaster is like moving down you know, because wooden roller coasters do that.
Oh,
right?
they kind of like
They move.
shift or, yeah.
They shift.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So of course, when you're walking around the park, it's like all you want to do is ride it because you hear it all the time. And so like, I totally wanted to ride this thing. And my dad was like, okay, I'll take you. And my mom was like, I'm out because for one thing, she's her back. She's always had back problems.
Okay.
And so she can never ride those. And she doesn't like any of that inertia, you know, forces on her body. She just doesn't like that. Even driving cars and stuff. She's always very careful.
Got it.
So she went and sat and had her coffee and my dad and I went off to ride the Rattler.
Nice. Yay.
So it's super fun. And whenever we go to theme parks as a family, that usually happens. My dad and I will go off, ride coasters, and my mom will sit down for a spell and have some coffee. And it works out. And I just have some really cool memories with my dad, especially because like overall growing up, you know, I'm an only child. And so my mom and I would always like do stuff like our hair or our nails together, do girly things together. You know, we'd always do that stuff together. And I didn't have as much bonding time with my dad. And partly because he's always at work too. You know, he's, you know, the man of the family. And so it was really cool to have these bonding moments with him. And I'll just name a few right here just because
That's nice. I want to know.
They're great memories.
I want it.
Yeah. So when I was in Magic Kingdom at 7 or 8 years old, I remember we closed down the park in Florida, and Dad and I went on Space Mountain. I think it was like 3 times in a row.
Wow.
Yeah, there was like no lines. It was coming on midnight. We're like, let's go. It was so amazing. And that was super fun.
That's awesome.
And then back when I was in college, my dad came out to visit at one point and we went to Six Flags Magic Mountain. And I remember riding the Superman ride when it had just opened. And that ride is one where you like get shot out of a cannon and you go up. You like literally go straight up 90 degrees in the air and then you fall back down. But in that moment, you're like weightless for a couple seconds, like you're flying like Superman.
Oh, wow. Cool.
That was awesome.
I have never been to Six Flags. I grew up here and I never, ever.
Wow.
Isn't that wild and weird?
That is.
I don't know.
And
why.
you live closer to it now.
Yeah, I do live closer to it now, but I don't know if I
County.
could get anybody to go with me in the family. Plus, it's all roller coasters, right? Or mostly roller coasters. And
It's mostly roller coasters, and it is a park that requires lots of stamina because it's on a mountain.
oh, got it. Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like up and down and up and down. Yeah.
I think my Six Flags days might be over
Right.
or past. I missed my window.
Indeed. And then I just want to call out one other experience with Dad back in 2020. Before everything shut down, Rise of the Resistance opened at Disneyland and on January 17th. And we were there opening day. And so we went with some Skywalkers and my dad came and we all rode that ride and a bunch of other rides, of course, because we spent the whole day there.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It's really
I
neat.
got in under the wire a few days after that, I think. The 23rd,
Yay.
21st, 22nd, 23rd of June or
That's
January,
right.
something like that. Yeah. So it's good.
Wow.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yay.
So yay,
It's
fun memories.
Funny that both of our first memories sort of that we talked about were roller coasters as little kids. That makes sense.
I think they make a big impression.
Heck
you know?
yeah. Yep.
I mean, yeah, you can go on the little kiddie rides and stuff, but that just doesn't really stick in your mind.
Yeah, obviously.
Like, I'm trying to think of the other experience in my mind, but it's really of SeaWorld, and there was like a dolphin petting area where you could just kind of put your hands in, and like the dolphins would like literally come right up to you and be like, hey, and I would pet them. It was so cool.
That's neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Shall we move to teen years?
Yes, we should.
Okay.
Middle school and or teen years.
Yeah. So I went to junior high. We didn't have middle school when I was back in the day.
Okay, so
we didn't have middle school.
Okay, so what's the difference? I mean, middle school was 6 through 8. What's junior high?
Yeah. Junior high. Well, because I went to Catholic school, my school was K through 8. So kindergarten through 8th grade, the whole school. But we had sort of a slight separation of the students for 7th and 8th grade. So junior high for us was just 7th and 8th grade. But then my husband went to public school here in LA, and junior high. I'm not sure if this is correct, but his school was 7th, 8th, 9th.
Oh.
And then high school was 10th through 12th, which I think is what my dad always said his was in Boston. Anyway, whatever.
Okay.
It
could happen because right before I went to high school, there was like a 9th grade annex, and it was like literally just 9th grade. But it was like the year right before I entered, and I got to go to straight high school 9th through 12. But like the year before me had this weird 9th grade annex thing. I don't know.
Huh. Strange. Who knows why people make the decisions they do. Anyway, so what I want to talk about, I've got 2 things for teen years. One is 8th grade. Actually, I have 3 things. The first is 8th grade trip to Disneyland. So me and my friends, yay, we get to go to Disneyland together, and there's no adults with us. Fantastic. We had tons of fun. Late bloomer that I was. Basically, I want to talk about the fact that everybody else was making out on the makeout rides.
Okay.
But I certainly was not doing that, which was totally fine with me. I was not prepared. Anyway, Adventure Through Inner Space was still there. So that, I don't think you probably never rode that, right?
I did not.
Yeah. So, but it's basically one of those Omnimover, or it was one of those Omnimover rides, like the Haunted Mansion ride vehicles.
Yes.
And, you get shrunk down and then you get made big again. But it was a weird ride, super nostalgic for it because it was just weird and fun and everybody made out on it. So I remember knowing that all my girlfriends were in cars with boys at the time, but whatever, that's cool. I'm fine.
It's so funny you say that because I have a little note on theme park PDA.
So that was fun. Oh, so when they weren't making out, we were having fun. All of us together with Bryn too. And so at the time in Tomorrowland, there was the Tomorrowland stage, the one, that goes up and down.
Yeah.
And comes up from the ground and whatever. So there was this band that would play there regularly, and it was called Crash. And it was this rock band, and I think they probably wore a little bit of space kind of looking outfits or something. But anyway, it was this, a hair band, a hair metal band a little bit, but more pop, called Crash. And so for that, when we were there, we spent so much time watching this stupid band.
Do they play during the day or just at night?
They played in the day a little bit. So it was definitely the afternoon and into the evening.
Okay.
And so we must have seen 2 or 3 of their shows, which now thinking back, I would never have done that now. But anyway, and some of my girlfriends, we for school, we wore a uniform. But we didn't have to wear the uniform when we went to Disneyland. So all of my friends who were much more advanced in life than I was, dressed really like teenagers, and they wore makeup. We weren't allowed to wear makeup to school. And so they looked a lot older than they were. And so at the last show of the day, we were watching them, and they had been flirting with my friends a lot. The band members had been flirting with my friends a lot. And,
okay.
And so at the end of the show, we're like, woohoo, yay, applauding. And the stage starts to lower into the ground. And one of the guys, a guitar player, throws a pick at one of my friends. And so she grabs that and she's like, oh. And then I think it was the lead singer leans out as the stage is moving down, leans out and kisses on the lips one of my friends. She's 14 years old or something. Anyway, it was so shocking and strange, but also exhilarating, even though it's a terrible, terrible thing this person did. And then he popped back onto the stage, and then it went down, and we were just what the what? It made that trip even more memorable than it had been just being there with my friends.
Yeah.
Weird story, right?
No, well, it's interesting that, like, I mean, so for me, the teen years of going to theme parks meant, like, freedom, you know, like that was like, you know, you're given kind of probably like a stipend, like a certain amount of money. You're given a time to come back to the bus, but otherwise off you go.
Yeah.
And it was like this feeling of like, oh my God, really? Like, no super, like, what? You know, like,
Yep.
And so things can happen like that.
Yeah.
And I remember similar experiences, not quite as shocking as that. I mean, that's kind of I mean, he was in the moment, you know, like they were both in the moment.
Yes.
Right?
This is true.
Yeah. But I remember, you know, in middle school, you're starting to kind of go out with people, go out with guys. I kind of went out with a guy, but not really. Like you, I wasn't very in tune with my sexuality then.
Yeah.
I was more like figuring out who I was.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
I could not focus on anything else
Yeah.
at that point. So I remember, you know, like you'd be waiting in line for a roller coaster and you'd see other people you knew from your school hanging out with their boyfriend, girlfriend, and like making out in line and stuff.
Yeah.
And that used to like super annoy me until I could finally do it in my 20s. But you know.
Right? I still haven't made out in line at Disneyland. That's hilarious.
Oh, that's one thing I made sure to do when I took Richard on Valentine's Day.
Sweet. That's awesome.
I was like, who cares about PDA? I don't care what people think. I'm doing this.
That's awesome. You get it. Hilarious.
Yes.
One of the things that I remember feeling about that day being there, it felt like being in a movie. Like it just like we're on our own, we're doing our own thing, we're buying our food, like you said, like freedom, and it felt like being in like an 80s movie because it literally was 1986.
That's awesome.
But then,
Aww.
so then we did it again, different friends though, after high school graduation. Bunch of my friends from high school, we went also just on our own. It wasn't like an official trip. And I was lucky enough to get involved a little bit in the theater department at my high school. Senior year. And so I had all these theater people friends who are so much fun to go to Disneyland with because they're super into it and very fun and like out there and silly. So that was a really, really fun trip as well. But I also wanted to talk a little bit because we did this in high school back to Knott's Berry Farm. This is one of my most fond memories. Knott's Berry Farm used to have a couple clubs where like music, like DJs would play. They probably had bands come too, but they had clubs. One was called Studio K and one was called Cloud 9. And I was never cool enough to go to Cloud 9, but my friends and I would go to Studio K in the summer because Knott's Berry Farm had this special deal. After 6 p.m. for $6, you could get into the park.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So it wasn't, and you weren't like limited from what you could do. It was just $6 for admission to get to the park. And so we would go and bring our $6 and food for money for food. And we'd go.
Which is what they wanted you to buy.
Exactly. So we would go and we'd get some food, whatever. We'd have funnel cake. And then we would go to Studio K because on Thursdays, K-Rock, the local, alternative
Radio
rock.
station,
Yeah,
right?
it's not alternative. It was Rock of the 80s, would send a DJ there. And so they would spin records all night long and we would dance at Studio K. And it was so much fun. It felt so grown up and, you know, we're dancing and I was a dancer and loved to dance and it was only $6 and we could all afford that pretty much. And it was just like, and the summer, like the smell of summers and you could hear, it was sort of semi outside this club. It was like partially inside and partially outside, if I remember correctly. So you could sort of hear the sounds of the amusement park every once in a while in between songs or whatever. It was wonderful. That one felt like a movie too.
Fun.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. But I do have a question. You said you're not cool enough to get into Cloud 9. What's Cloud 9?
Right? Actually, I don't even know because I never went in there. But all my friends only ever wanted to go to Studio K. So I don't know. I did do a little bit of research on YouTube to see if I could find some information about Cloud 9, but there really wasn't that much. There was like still photos. It was sort of a montage made of like some friends who used to go there back in the day. Still photos of them there. And it was like sort of like new wave looking kids.
Okay.
And then some like Mohawky kids and just kids who I would have known, but I didn't hang out with. That sort of
Okay.
look. Yeah.
Right. All right. So Studio K, like, where was it in the park? Was it inside the park?
It was inside the park.
Cool.
Okay.
Nice.
Now you go. What are your teen memories?
Okay. So I did mention the one of them, which is kind of that freedom experience, you know, that we
Sure.
both had at theme parks. I think
Yeah.
it's a little stepping stone, right?
Absolutely.
You're kind of learning how to take care of yourself. You're buying your own food. You're kind of picking what cliques to hang out with, because that was a big thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, so we would always go, like, I was in band from middle school to high school, and we would always have band trips, where you'd go, you'd play, to rank in whatever region, state, whatever you were in.
Oh, sure.
But then while you were doing that, it was generally next to a theme park. So the next day you'd like go to the theme park, or you'd go wherever you'd go. And so I remember going to like Six Flags over Texas near Dallas was one of the first times that I went to a theme park with the middle school crowd. And at either that point or another point, I remember this was like early 90s, maybe 92, 93, I don't know. And so at that point, like roller coasters were starting to get super themed up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Batman the Ride
right.
was like this new ride, and it was a roller coaster that was hanging from the track. It was inverted. So you'd actually load and the track would be above you, and you'd be like in hanging seats with your feet.
So your
like,
feet dangled.
Your feet dangle.
Oh.
And I was like so excited to ride this ride, and it was so exciting. But one of the coolest parts of the ride was not the ride itself. It was the line, the queue.
Really?
Because it had Danny Elfman's, music like pumping throughout the queue.
Right, from Batman. Right.
And it was at night, and the fog, like there was fog in the line, and like strobe lights and stuff. And I was like, whoa, this is the coolest thing ever.
That's awesome.
So I just remember that as being one of those moments where film music, really permeated my everyday life in that way. Like just kind of, you like became a part of the movie. So I thought that was really neat. And then the ride itself was like awesome. I loved hanging by itself. So
that sounds so thrilling.
It was thrilling. And I don't think actually it was at Six Flags over Texas, because Batman the Ride opened in 2000 at that park. So it must have been somewhere else.
Got it.
But like, I definitely experienced that in my middle school years. And I just remember it was so cool. And so music can really make your theme park experience.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah. When I think about the original music, I guess, or the most recently long music at Space Mountain at Disneyland, how iconic that music is. And the other times that I've ridden it when it wasn't that music, it's just not as fun. It doesn't feel as fast. No. It's not, it's very different.
It is.
Yep.
It is.
Yep.
So yay.
Cool.
That's one thing about theme parks. It's like not only the rides, but you're experiencing everything. The sights, sounds, smells, like
oh yeah,
all
it's all the senses.
All the senses, yes.
Definitely. Full body experience.
Yes.
So we're moving on to adults. I know.
Yes.
Adults.
Yes.
Okay, so I mean, really being able to take my kids to theme parks has been really fun, especially when they want to go. And
this boggles my mind that one of
my kids doesn't like it. It's fine. It's cool.
Okay.
But
you're like, I don't have to pay for your ticket.
Exactly. It saves me money. So, but they both liked it when they were really small. So, but yeah, just taking them, especially to Disneyland for the first time or the first several times. It's just, you really see it in a whole different way. You get to see it through their eyes, as everybody always says, but it's just it also makes you sort of slow down a little bit and really take things in while you're still like tending to them. So that was just super fun. The first time I think I took my 10-year-old as a baby, we went because the 4-year-old was going for somebody else's birthday party sort of situation. It was like one of those things where for the kids, it must have been 5th birthday. 5th birthday, they didn't want to party. They wanted to go to Disneyland. So they took like us with them, which was so nice.
Got it.
So we were doing a meet and greet with or we were doing a princess meet or whatever they call that. Character, what's that called? I never do those. I forget what they're called. When you
character meet and greet?
I guess so. That's what it is. Yeah. We stood in line to see Rapunzel and Flynn Rider.
Oh!
Yeah. And it's probably the only time I've ever done that with my kids, because after that, they were not interested. Not that it didn't ruin them or anything, but they just weren't interested in it. But
yeah.
So it was lovely. Rapunzel was great. Flynn had to sort of move away because we weren't so sure about Flynn for whatever reason.
Oh,
he seemed scary or something. But so I had the baby, who's the 10-year-old at the time. He was 6 months old.
Right.
In a carrier on my chest, right? Like I got him. He's facing me. And so we're talking to Rapunzel, taking pictures, whatever. The 4-year-old is, or I guess she was 5 by then. The 5-year-old is there too. And we're just talking, and the baby is like bending over backwards, like literally like pushing away from my body and trying to flip himself so that he can see Rapunzel. And he's completely entranced. And just like, and Rapunzel was like, look at you. Like she just, all of a sudden she like could not stop laughing and like looking at him, because it was like he was trying to flip out of the carrier to be able to see her. It was really, really cute. We had lots of pictures. Anyway, that was very fun.
Aww.
That was a really long time ago, but it was really fun. And
that's amazing.
So that's been fun. But then, so the other thing that I have learned as an adult, or not learned, but something that I want to talk about being an adult and going to amusement parks, is discovering that it's so much fun to go by myself.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because I hadn't ever done that before until, let's see. I hadn't ever done that before until I already had one kid, but I hadn't had the other kid yet. I wasn't even pregnant yet. And I had an opportunity to go by myself because nobody else could go with me. And I really, really wanted to go. This was the year that Disneyland did you can get a free ticket to go to Disneyland on your birthday.
Yay! Yes, I remember that.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do that. So I did it, and I'd never been by myself. I was a little nervous, but it was fantastic because I could do whatever I wanted and nobody had to have any say, and I could eat whatever I wanted, or I didn't have to eat anything, or I could eat everything, or I could ride what I wanted. I didn't have to ride anything I didn't want to. It was fantastic. So that has been one of the great joys of adulthood and amusement parks, is I can go by myself.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't know if I've been... No, I'll take that back. I went once by myself, but it wasn't a whole day. Mm-hmm. I had like a puppet show in Garden Grove or something. And then 3 hours later, I had to be back. But I had 3 hours. And I was like a hop, skip, and a jump. Yeah. And I had an annual pass. And Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde had just been like announced as characters. And I was like, I'm going to go meet Nick and Judy. So I like went to Disneyland and I like met them and I like hugged them. Aww. And then I went back and went out and did some work. Job, but like,
that's great. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So funny.
So it was really fun. But like, I guess, like, I know for you and your son like to go to theme parks a lot, but not everyone in your family does.
Right. And it's hard with him being in school. I don't want to take him out of school now that he's older to go to a theme park. So we don't really go that often because it's hard. The weekends are very crowded and busy, and yeah, anyway.
Yes. Yeah. So, but with Richard and I, like, you know, I'd feel bad leaving him behind because I know he wants to be there as much as
of course. Of course. Yeah. Yeah. My particular family situation is very specific to my experience.
But it works. Like, I could see enjoying that too, because I like, you know, doing things by myself as well. Because only child, you know.
Right. I also discovered recently, going to DCA for the first time since the parks have reopened, that I missed going with friends. Because I used to think, before the pandemic started, I thought that I just really preferred going by myself because I had gotten used to that.
Yes.
But then meeting up with all of you that day when we went to DCA, and actually the morning, because I was there by myself in the morning, I thought, oh, this is fun, but it's sort of, I'm just sort of like, I'm just doing these things because I'm trying to wait until my friends come. And then having you all there, it was so much more fun. So the post, not post-pandemic because we're not past it, but the post everything shut down situation for amusement parks for me is I've realized that I do want to be there with my friends.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait till we can get our annual passes again, and maybe we can have like a girls' day. Like, I think
that would be lovely. Yes, please. Let's do that.
Yay.
Okay. You.
All right. Well, I
you.
have. Yes. I have one note about adulthood because, well, for one thing, so, I grew up in Texas and I didn't move to LA until I was in college. I went to USC. And so I came out here and all of a sudden it was like, oh, we do theme parks. We do theme parks on weekends. We do theme parks at Halloween. We do theme parks at, like, it was this whole different culture that I was being introduced to, because a lot of the friends I made in college, they had like already had annual passes like to Disneyland and stuff.
Yeah.
And if I wanted to hang out with them on the weekend, I literally had to buy an annual pass. Back when they were only $333.
Oh gosh.
I remember that. Yeah.
Wow.
I like remember my first annual pass was that price in like 2000 or something.
And that was every day all year long, or was
every day all year? It was like
Yeah.
the top of the line annual pass. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
But one of the cool things about that, not only Disneyland, but like all the haunted theme parks at Halloween.
Oh,
so
yeah.
like this was my first experience with Knott's Berry Farm, was Knott's Scary Farm.
Oh, yeah.
And once you experience that, I mean, because that's the longest running like haunted theme park in the US, I think.
Right.
And I think it started in the 70s.
It did, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And so like experiencing that, like that was, once you do that once, you have to go back every year. It's just, it's so much fun. And so like, yeah, I've done that pretty much every year since, I guess, 2000.
Wow.
Something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. I would say every year. Yeah. Yeah. So those have been some really fun times as an adult. And then just, I mean, I'm not really naming a lot of other awesome experiences because we've luckily on Skywalking Through Neverland, our podcast has been going for 8 years and we've been documenting these experiences, which I think is totally cool.
It is. It's super cool.
Yeah. So I'm just excited that like all of that has been documented because, you get these fun feelings, but they only last for so long, or your memories, like you make a lot of memories, can only remember so much. So I'm just excited that I have these podcasts to listen back on.
Yeah. You can revisit them and remember what you did and how fun it was.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're giving joy to people. Oh, it's good.
Thank you. Yeah, well, I hope so.
I think you are. I think everybody, yes, it is a fact.
Good.
So while I was
Okay.
thinking about all this, I had this realization that I just really also just love themed stuff. Like,
Ooh,
know,
okay.
like themed parties and themed restaurants and themed
Like tea parties on the ceiling?
Yes, please. And like there's even
That
like
sounds fun.
themed shopping centers and stuff and themed hotels. There's some places that I've been here, like there used to be these restaurants in Los Angeles called Clifton's Cafeteria. They had several locations. I think they're all closed by now, but one was a forest theme and one was a tropical theme, and I forget the other themes, but they were amazing. I only ever went into the forest themed one because the rest of them had closed by the time that I knew about them, but really, just really elaborately done. There was, in the forest theme one, there was like a phone booth, but it was inside a tree trunk.
Oh, wow.
And and there was a little stream that ran through the restaurant, and it was really cool. Clifton still exists in downtown LA, but it's been taken over, and it's kind of a hipster joint now. It's still,
So no theming.
I don't think it's themed. I haven't been back since it reopened, but, and I think it's still technically a cafeteria, but there's also like a speakeasy or something upstairs, or like a bar or something. Anyway. But Clifton's was awesome, and it was totally a themed restaurant. There's a shopping center in Huntington Beach called Old World. Have you ever been to Old World?
Is it the German place?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, it's fun and quirky, and you can get yummy things there. So that's fun. And then have you ever been to the Madonna Inn, the hotel in like Central California? It's the one that has all of the highly themed rooms.
Oh, fun.
It's wild. Like I have to share a link with you because you need to look at this. The rooms, each room is themed differently. There's 110 uniquely themed private rooms. And, oh, that's right. It's in San Luis Obispo. And
okay.
If you click through, you can see it's just, I don't even know how to describe these. The Bridal Falls room 140. All of the walls are either made out of rock or they're painted bright green. And there's,
oh my God.
Are you seeing this?
Yeah.
And
no, I'm just, well, I initially said,
around?
oh my God, for your description, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, and the upholstery of the couches and the chairs is always very elaborate. Let me find another one. I'll put some links to these rooms in the show notes.
Barrel of Fun room. A private staircase welcomes you to this spacious suite on the second level of the Hilltop unit. Hold on. There's one that's like, caveman. The caveman room. There's a waterfall. Oh, wow.
Let's see. A waterfall spills overhead from the stone shower, and water flows from the rocks into a stone sink basin in the cavern-style bathroom. And just everything, it's weird and wonderful and fun. I have never stayed there. We ate dinner once at the Pink Nightmare restaurant. It's called...
There's an Austrian suite.
Is there?
Yeah.
That is definitely a life goal. I want to stay at the Madonna Inn someday because it's just theme heaven. But then we also...
Cute.
Right? Fun stuff. Madonna Inn. And then we've stayed at the Legoland Hotel a few times when the kids were younger, and that's super themed. And I know it's attached to a theme park, but I would go to the Legoland Hotel just to stay at the hotel, not even go to the theme park. The theme park was fun, but the hotel itself is just so fantastic. The rooms are all themed. There's like 4 different themes you can get. It's like knights or adventure or the Friends, like Lego Friends, that set situation. And then
pirates.
Oh yeah, and pirates. I think there's 5 then, because I think there's a Ninjago. I think they have a Ninjago hotel now too. It's just so fun. The elevators are these disco elevators. So when you get in and the doors close, the disco ball starts up and there's dance music and you dance as you get to your hotel floor. It's just so much fun.
Aww.
I like themes.
Yeah. Yeah, themes and theme parks have gotten so much more immersive too. But we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yes.
Because before we get into that, we have to know what we want to learn about theme parks for this episode.
The educational section.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, so when I was thinking about what do I want to learn about theme parks, I was thinking about how we often say amusement park and theme park, and we use those words interchangeably, or I do at least, and I think a lot of people do. So I wanted to find out what's the differentiation, what is the difference between an amusement park and a theme park. And so basically what I found was that amusement park is the umbrella term. And a theme park is a specific type of amusement park. So
all theme parks are amusement parks, but not all amusement parks are theme parks.
Exactly. It's like the dolphin porpoise thing.
Uh-oh. What's that?
I think all dolphins are porpoises, but not all porpoises are dolphins.
Okay. But now I want to know the difference.
Okay.
No, I'm just
between
kidding.
a porpoise and a dolphin?
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
I didn't do the research on that one. So, yeah. So
we'll do another episode on dolphins.
So an amusement park is basically a more generic term for a park that has rides and shows and attractions. There's often games you can play, games of skill, that sort of thing. Food, like carnival food or fair food, that sort of thing. So it's like a large outdoor area with fairground type rides and shows and refreshments, other entertainment stuff. And I found out that it actually, the sort of American tradition of amusement parks came out of the pleasure gardens of Europe.
Whoa.
Yes. So
that sounds fancy.
Right? So there were public parks and public gardens, and then there were these pleasure gardens. So the public gardens were just sort of open areas. Maybe there's plants and there's grass and stuff. But pleasure gardens was a place that was open to the public for recreation and entertainment. But they also had like not just entertainment that you would entertain yourself, but there would be like a bandstand where bands would play or music would be played or whatever. And then also maybe concert halls. There might be rides there, maybe a zoo, and then menageries, which I'm not sure what the difference between a menagerie and a zoo is.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Is that the European term for like petting zoo maybe?
I don't think so. Let me look. A menagerie is a collection of captive animals that are frequently exotic animals kept for display. So
that's a zoo.
Right. So how are they differentiating a zoo? Because it's listed as zoo and then a menagerie. A zoo is a facility in which animals are housed within enclosures, cared for, displayed to the public, and in some cases bred for conservation purposes. Anyway, sometimes there were zoos and menageries.
Okay.
But so that's a general amusement park. Now, a theme park is an amusement park that is a defined, designed space that has themed, like it's all organized around a theme.
Okay.
So, and it has themed rides and attractions. So, like Disneyland is a theme park because it's themed around the stuff that Walt Disney wanted to theme it around. So like Americana and the different sort of lands each all have their own themes. So that's why it's a theme park.
Got it.
I believe Knott's Berry Farm was the first theme park in the United States because it was all based around it being a farm and the berries and the chicken, I guess.
Right.
So that's the difference. Ta-da.
Okay. I love it. So when I'm just trying to think of an example then now of just an amusement park that's
so like,
not a theme park.
Right. So like smaller local parks, I think, tend to be more amusement park-y. So like here in LA, way back in the day, and actually these two parks inspired Walt Disney to think about building Disneyland. It was called Ponyland and Kittyland. And so it was like an amusement park or side-by-side amusement parks for little kids. And they had Ponyland had pony rides and probably a petting zoo. Kittyland had little kid rides, like carnival rides, but they were permanent.
Right. Like Bugs Land.
Yes, but not themed. So
okay. Oh, right.
Yeah. So I think that's the difference. Like smaller local parks that aren't organized around sort of a theme.
Okay.
One central idea.
But both of them could have roller coasters, right?
Absolutely. Yes. Yep.
Okay. Well, that brings us to my sciencey thing.
Segue.
What I want to learn about.
Segue alert.
So, first of all, I wanted to kind of know the history of the roller coaster specifically. But when I was looking, there's a lot of differences and no one can quite come up with a proper, like, this is the history. There's it's not well documented, basically. And so I'm going to kind of tell you a little bit about the precursor to roller coasters, but then we're going to really dive into how a roller coaster works. So,
ooh, science.
Physics.
Yay,
yes.
physics.
Science.
I got a D in physics first semester. Senior
year.
I
think I got like a C. So yeah, we're right. Senior year too.
Oof, I had a tutor and everything. I did better once I was really paying attention to the tutor, but oof.
Was the tutor cute?
No. No. He was a physics teacher from some other school.
Okay, that's so funny. All right. So first of all, I just want to explain kind of how the roller coaster came to be. And I thought this was very interesting. And we have to thank howstuffworks.com for a lot of my research here.
Yay.
So, roller coasters developed out of ice slides that were popular in Russia in the 16th and 17th centuries. Yeah.
I love your research, Sarah. I love you. Thank you for doing these things.
You're welcome. I was like, whoa, ice slides. And yes, so they generally were built kind of by a mountain or a hilly area. And riders would shoot down these slopes that were made on sleds that were made of wood, or they would go on blocks of ice and like ride blocks of ice down these like 70-foot straight shot slides of ice.
Oh my gosh.
And they land into a sand of ice.
Oh my gosh.
And they land into a sand pile. Like they crash landed into a sand pile. Yeah. I don't know how steep they were because, I mean, again, this is like 16th and 17th centuries before we had really.
They weren't podcasting about it then. And
no.
there's no videos. It's sad.
No. It is.
They must have
YouTube.
they lost their videos.
Exactly. So from there, this is kind of where historians start to diverge on how these ice slides evolved into rolling carts. But the most common theory is that an enterprising Frenchman imported the ice slide idea to France. They were like, we can build ice slides here too. And then didn't take into account that, it's slightly warmer in France
Yeah.
than it is in Russia.
Yes.
So they started to develop wax slides. And again, these were straight. And eventually they added wheels to the sled. So now all of a sudden you're in a wheel, like kind of like luge or something. Not luge, I guess. Because which is the one? Luge doesn't have
I don't
the
think
wheels.
luge has wheels, no.
Okay.
Bobsled?
Well,
bobsled has
bobsled.
skis. They have skis or something. Like it's like
Do they?
skis underneath. I think there's like blades.
Oh,
or something.
I'm thinking of the Jamaica bobsleds because they would use the wheels. You're right. Anyway.
Okay. I have never
regardless,
have not
so
seen that movie.
Okay. So eventually, wheels were used, but that still doesn't denote a roller coaster, right? What denotes a roller coaster is when your wheels are attached to the track,
Oh.
right?
Okay, sure.
So the coaster is like on the track. So in 1817, in France, the Russes à Belleville is the first roller coaster where a train was attached to the track and the train axle fit into a carved groove in the track. And so that is kind of documented as the first roller coaster in 1817.
Wow.
And it wasn't, twisty really. It was just very kind of straight. But from there, the French then experimented with multiple cars, more complex tracks with twists and turns and things like that. So
Cool.
And then that eventually developed and, America got heavily into the roller coaster movement like in the 1910s and even the 1920s. But then the Great Depression kind of stopped that experimentation. And it wasn't until about the 50s when the tubular track came into existence. Like the Matterhorn has a tubular track.
Oh, yes.
And all of a sudden you don't need like a ton of wooden like spokes everywhere holding things up. You could have very limited things holding up a tubular track so it can be more twists and turns and stuff.
Got it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Hey.
I thought that was cool.
Cool.
So that's kind of the history of how roller coasters formed. Very glossed over, but
We don't need a deep... Yeah.
No, not deep dive. But I really want to get into how a roller coaster works because now I think I would have appreciated physics lessons more in high school. I appreciate physics more now because it's interesting stuff if you relate it with things like Star Wars or Star Trek or, roller coasters.
Yeah, heck
right?
yeah. And you're not being graded on it, so it's
It's more fun.
just for fun.
Yes. So most roller coasters, they start with your big climb uphill, right?
Yes.
And the purpose of this is to build up this reservoir of potential energy. So you're building up energy as you're going because the coaster is going to use gravity to then release this energy.
Sure.
So the potential energy you build going up the hill can then be released as kinetic energy as the roller coaster zipping down its track.
Cool. Yes. I feel that.
So, yes, exactly. So, and then of course, okay, so you're up on the roller coaster, and then you are released and you start cruising down that first hill and gravity takes over and, all of a sudden you're moving with kinetic energy because gravity helps it and applies this constant downward force on the cars. But the coaster tracks are channeling this force.
Ooh.
So you're not like flying willy-nilly. The coaster tracks are kind of taking it.
Right.
And so if the tracks slope down, gravity then pulls your car more and you get more kinetic energy. If the track tilts up, gravity is decelerating it basically because you're losing some of that energy. And since an object in motion tends to stay in motion, like Newton's first law of motion, then the coaster car will still maintain that forward velocity it built up even when it's moving up the track.
Right.
So it'll counter that gravitational force because it's still in motion. Same with your body, and we'll get into that. Your body is kind of moving at a different rate than the cars that you're in, which is crazy to me. Well, I'll get into that a little more.
Okay. Teach me.
Yes. Okay, so basically a roller coaster, by going up and down and up and down, the course of the track is constantly converting this potential energy into kinetic energy and back again. Right?
Yeah.
And so, but what's interesting is that engineers who are designing roller coasters have to take into account the energy also lost due to the friction between the train and the track.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
And then also between the train and the air.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So you got all these forces in motion. It's crazy. And so when, if you designed your roller coaster right, the train coasts to the end of the track and your energy reservoir should be almost completely empty at that point. But sometimes you need brakes too, which are often built not into the train cars itself, but the track. The brakes are generally built into the track.
Yes,
which I found interesting.
That makes sense. There's a really neat, my 10-year-old during school last year had a roller coaster project for school on, school from home, where there's this website, and I'll have to find it. If I can find it and we can access it without having like a login, I will share it in the show notes. But it's a make your own roller coaster app or something. And so you have to set up the hills and the dips and things in the right way so that your car, when you hit the go, the car will make it to the end of the goal is to have the car make it to the end of your roller coaster, with no energy left and get it all the way to the end. And it was really cool.
Perfect.
And it was neat to watch him move sections around to see if he could change the speed and how much energy was left at the end. Very cool. Hopefully I'll be able to find that.
Yeah, that's awesome. My dad had a similar PC game that was a roller coaster designer, something like that.
Neat.
He loved it. He had the best time with that.
I bet. Yeah. Yeah.
Also, what's interesting is if you look at a loop-de-loop, if you think of Screamin' or the Incredicoaster at DCA.
Yep.
Right. The loop is not entirely circular.
Right. It looks like a balloon kind of.
Yes, it looks like a balloon, exactly. And that's because they used to start doing loop-de-loops entirely circular. And in order to do that, because the motion side to side, you needed a lot of force going into that loop-de-loop to make all the motion side to side work as well as up and down. Mm-hmm. And it would actually be too much force on people's bodies going into it.
Ooh.
Or not too much, but it's very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so by making that teardrop shape, you don't need to be as fast going into that loop-de-loop to have that centrifugal force work.
Interesting. So going vertical faster sooner is easier because you get to the top faster and then you don't have to, sustaining that around the actual circle seems like it would be too difficult. That's cool.
It was.
Physics.
I know, physics. Okay, so now let's get to the part about your body on a roller coaster.
Yes.
So your body is always feeling the force of gravity all the time. Your feet pressed into the floor is actually the earth, dragging you down to the center of the earth.
Yeah.
Right? That's what you feel as weight is gravity pulling you. But we're just so used to it.
Right.
Find that crazy. So when you're on a roller coaster, you're also being, you're feeling the force of acceleration.
Yep.
And when a coaster car is speeding up, the actual force acting on you is the seat of the roller coaster pushing your body forward.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's the seat pushing your body forward, and because of your body's inertia, you feel the force in front of you pushing you into the seat.
Oh.
Isn't that crazy?
Weird.
So you're always feeling the opposite acceleration than what you're actually being told. Does that, I don't know if that makes sense.
Sort of,
but
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like the push of acceleration is coming from the opposite direction of the actual
that you experience
force. Yes, exactly.
Got it.
Exactly. So when you plummet down a steep hill, gravity is pulling you down, but the acceleration force seems to pull you up.
Oh, yeah.
If you think about
it does feel like you're being pulled up even though you're going down.
Yes.
Weird.
And then when you're on those cool roller coasters that kind of go in waves,
like have
right?
whoops,
They're like, yeah. What's it called?
Oh, a whoop, like a
yes,
like moguls
whoop, whoop.
kind of. Yeah.
Yes, exactly, like moguls.
Yeah.
So at a certain point during those times, at a certain rate of acceleration, the forces are balancing each other out, and that's when you feel weightlessness.
Ah, yes.
Right? I love that moment, like at the top of a hill on a coaster, you know, inertia is carrying you up, but the coaster car is already going down. So,
yes.
Yeah, that's why there's different forces on you than what is in the car. And that's what makes you feel so interesting.
Right. Cool.
And if you let go of the safety bar, you're going to lift out of your seat.
Right.
Which is like the funnest part. I love that.
Totally. That stomach losing of your stomach is so fun.
Yes. Yes. And that's another thing. Now, this is kind of creepy to think about, but like, all of these forces are moving on your body and your body parts in different ways. Oh. So like when you get that sinking feeling in your stomach, it's because your stomach could actually be like rising or sinking independent of like your body. Like your insides are moving differently.
Oh my gosh. That is super weird.
Yeah. And that's why some people love roller coasters and some people hate them because some people can't stand that feeling. Now, next time I ride a roller coaster, I'm going to be like, oh, I don't know.
My organs don't like this ride.
Yeah. So that's what's happening on a roller coaster.
So cool.
Yeah.
Love it.
I know. So, wow. All that acceleration and inertia and potential energy. And my dad's going to be so proud of me.
Oh, yay. Wow, yeah. Physics is fun on your body. Yeah. Cool. All right, this brings us to question 3.
Yes.
What are you excited about regarding theme parks? You want to go first?
Okay. Sure, I will. Okay. So because it's one of the most recent experiences, it's what's in my head right now. So I really love... So Avengers Campus just opened at DCA, and it's just a little section of the park, but it's all the Avengers and the rides and everything. And it's mirroring the Disney Plus shows and changing up characters and interactions based on what has just come out that week on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I love it.
I think that is the coolest thing ever.
It's super cool. It's real life sort of being reflected in a theme park land.
Yeah. And I mean, one of the most fun things to do in Avengers Campus is interact with the characters because there's a lot of them.
Yep.
And it's a small space. So, you know, do it as much as you can. And we were there once Loki had just premiered.
Right.
And I had just been there the week before, and Loki was in his green, outfit that he wears in all the main films, like the Avengers movie and stuff, with the big headdress.
Yeah.
And then when you came and we all went there, Loki had premiered, and all of a sudden in the show, he's in the TVA, which he's basically in time jail, right?
Right.
And so he's wearing this outfit,
that jumpsuit,
this jailer suit. Yeah, the jumpsuit.
Right. Yeah.
And so in the theme parks, he was wearing that, and he was with the TVA agents were like flanking him. It was awesome.
So great. Because the show had just launched the day before we went. So it was such a delightful surprise to see him there dressed like that. It was fantastic. And he was surly, and it was great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Super fun.
So that was super cool. And I think I'll let you talk about some of your excitement in theme parks, and then
you'll go
jump
back
in with a last one. Yes.
Okay, cool. So the whole time during the super big lockdown from coronavirus, I found myself, and I didn't realize this until a couple of months ago, but I've been sort of planning outfits to wear to theme parks the whole time. Just like if I was sort of absentmindedly shopping, like just browsing some shopping website, I'd be like, oh, that'd be fun to wear to Disneyland, or, ooh, I could put that together. And I didn't even realize I was doing it. So what I really like doing, and I'm excited to do as we go to theme parks more and amusement parks, is just putting outfits together to go. You know, whether it's like a bound, you know, where you use your regular clothes to try to sort of emulate or echo the colors or the style of a particular character from a show or a movie or a book series or whatever that you like. Or if it's, I also just really like to sort of maximize my comfort when I go to a theme park, because I tend to get hot or get cold all in the same day a lot. And then I need to cover myself up from the sun because I am just paler than pale and afraid of the sun. So, but putting together like the perfect combination of clothes, either on my body the whole day or in my bag, is a really big thing for me, which is whatever. But so I love figuring it out. Like and also what am I going to put in my bag? Like, how do I pack the bag so that it's super efficient and has the things I need, but it's not too much? And like, so that's what I'm excited about theme parks, putting outfits together, putting my bag together, and I guess going, but yeah, getting ready.
Getting ready. Well, you know what? I have to interject here because you had mentioned on one of our episodes getting ready for theme parks on Skywalking. One of your tips was to pack a scarf.
Yes. And
not only for looking cute, but for sun protection or for cool, like if you get cold, to wrap around. And that has been like my favorite tip of yours. I had never done that before, but I have started taking scarves to theme parks and it works great.
Oh,
like,
yay.
For those super hot days, like when it was 90 degrees on opening day, like I had a scarf and, you know, I had a cool, tank top, but then you'd feel like the sun kind of beating down on you and I would just take the scarf and put it on me. It was perfect.
Yay.
And then at night it gets a little cool here in LA and it was like I wrapped it around me. It was awesome.
Yay. Yeah. And just for clarification, like a big scarf that's not like a warm, not like a winter scarf, but like a largish fabric, like that is sort of lightweight, but you know, the sun doesn't get through it. Anyway, I think when I first mentioned it, I think Richard was like, a scarf? Like, why would you wear? Maybe thinking it was like a winter. What you meant. Bring a winter scarf, but no. Like most of my scarves are not winter scarves. They're like big sheets of fabric that Anyway, yes, it's my favorite, and it can be a blanket. It can be like with kids too. Like I have these circular scarves that are made out of like a jersey material, and I bring them to movie theaters. I bring them wherever we're going, and there's always one in my bag because somebody's always going to be cold, or someone's want to fall asleep, and it's like they work as blankets too. It's great.
Wow, that's cool.
Yay. So then the other thing that I'm excited about is just trying to be more present, you know, when I'm there, because I think I got really used to the ease of, I mean, not that it's that easy for me to stop my day and go down to Disneyland, but the ease with which we can go once there's annual passes or memberships or whatever, you can kind of take it for granted and just sort of rush around and do stuff and not be terribly present, or at least could be my tendency. But I really want to just like live it while I'm there and not sort of be looking to what's the next thing I'm going to do. I want to experience the thing I'm experiencing while I'm doing it, because that hasn't always been my forte. And also appreciating like the deep privilege that it is to be able to go at all, and how much of a privilege it is if you can go a lot. So.
Yeah. I think I need that note sometimes too. Like you're a good friend to have to kind of remind me of that, because I think especially, you know, what Richard and I do for Skywalking, we like to document stuff. And so we're kind of always thinking about documenting, always thinking about what's the video, what's the picture, what can we, and you forget to experience it. And one moment that kind of crystallized that was we were there, I think about a month ago. We had gotten Rise of the Resistance passes. Mm-hmm. And so we went, and we had been enough times, and Richard, and I think this was like our 5th time or something. And Richard was like, this is the first time I don't have a camera in my hand to actually experience it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he was able to actually experience it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, because if you're looking at your video screen, making sure everything's in focus, all blah, blah, blah,
Yep.
like, you know, you can't really
That's not life.
experience it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, similarly, like you see so many people, you know, with camcorders videotaping, or with camcorders, with your phones, videotaping the fireworks.
Yes.
It's like, that's just, when are you ever going to look at that?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And there's
Unless-
plenty of those online. You can just look at someone else's who did a really nice job. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just be there.
So,
Feel it, man.
yeah. Yeah. So
Yep.
I do take your note, and I do, yes, it is an incredible privilege that we are able to do that. We live in this area and we're able to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I mean, I kind of feel that now, like without the annual passes, it's after doing our initial splurge of like some theme park days, it's like, oh, we can't really go till September now, you know, at least. And I know for some people it's every year, every 5 years. So,
Right.
or not even. So,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
feeling
Whenever you can go, just enjoy it.
grateful. Yeah. Just, yeah. I feel for you all when you are doing stuff I mean, I love that you are filming everything and recording things for the show, and it's great. And I also feel for you because, yeah, it also could be taking you out of the experience that you deserve to have, you know? So it's good that you have trips every once in a while where you don't have to capture everything.
Yes.
And you can just be there and have fun. I mean, I know it's fun. I know it's fun to be there when you're doing the recording too.
It is, but it is a different level. It's a heightened level of something different. It's different.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. I
does
feel it.
sometimes take away from it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure. It makes me think about, I always have a bag with me, right? Like I have a mom bag, and I do a good job packing the stuff that I know I'm going to need. But every once in a while, either I have someone with me who can carry the bag, or I have a very small bag, or not really ever, but I imagine it. Anyway, I imagine it's the same thing of like not having a bag. If I go someplace and I don't have a bag, I just feel like a different person. Like the literal weight that I'm not carrying makes me feel so light and free and floppy, and I experience the world so much differently when I don't have my bag. But I really like my bag, and I need my bag because I need my stuff.
Yes. Yes.
And sometimes it's other people's stuff. So I have to carry it.
You're a mom.
I am a mom.
Oh, I have one more note, actually, of something I'm excited about.
Cool.
Is I do, like you, really like getting dressed up. And I want to, actually, because I've been going to theme parks now that since we've been documenting them a lot, and carrying big bags of stuff, I just wanted to be comfortable, right?
Yeah.
But when Teresa came down, Teresa from Fango's Going Rogue, she came for the Legoland opening, and we also did a Disneyland day together, and she was all about the bounding, and we like planned our outfits, or she planned her outfit and I planned mine the night before, but we planned our outfits to be matchy. I was I was Little Mermaid, Ariel.
Yes.
And she was Flounder.
It was so cute.
The sidekick.
So
yes.
good.
And so that whole day, like, we had such fun because we had lots of character interactions, and they would all do like the fins on their face, like when they recognized her, or like Little Mermaid tail for me.
Cute.
And I just really enjoyed that. And we together, like, that was a moment where we spent the whole day, but we were taking and sharing pictures along the way, and it was fun because it was kind of integrated into the day.
Sure.
Because we were dressed up.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think that actually made sharing our day more fun. The fact that I felt all cute and stuff. So
yeah. Heck yeah.
that's why at Avengers Campus we dressed up, like opening day. We did like the WandaVision kind of crew.
right.
And things like that.
That looked so great. That was really, really well done.
Yeah.
And you ran into other people who were dressed too, and then that interaction,
Yes.
that when people recognize who you are, or people are dressed as the same character as you, and but in a different way, so fun. So fun.
Yeah, and in fact, opening day of Avengers Campus was cool in that way because a lot of people were bounding as different characters, as different superheroes or
Yeah.
villains, and it was really cool seeing everyone.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, bonus question. What's your
bonus question?
What's your favorite immersive theme park experience?
Oh my gosh. Okay. It's hard to think about. And I would, if I thought about it, like taking in all time, I might say Galaxy's Edge, but I'm going to go with a particular moment that really like encapsulated an immersion for me, like one of the first immersive experiences for me. And this was in New Fantasyland and Magic Kingdom. I believe it was 2010 or 2012. I think it was 2010. The Beauty and the Beast restaurant had just opened, and I had been following its construction for like 2 years on the Disney Parks blog.
Oh.
Like they would kind of share photos and share the progress. And at one point they shared a video of like what it was like to walk in. And I like started crying seeing this video.
Oh.
So when I finally got to go, once again, it was impossible to get reservations because this was like the big restaurant that everyone wanted. But when we first got into Magic Kingdom, we walked right over to the Beauty and the Beast restaurant to get a walk-up like reservation to see if they were even available.
Yeah.
And at first we were told, oh, they're not. And then all of a sudden, like one of the cast members, and we were kind of standing trying to figure out what to do next. And one of the cast members came up and whispered, hey, you guys go stand over there.
Oh.
And we'll get you in. Yeah. It was like this amazing magic moment.
Oh.
And so like right after that, we walked into the restaurant, and this is basically a recreation of the ballroom scene in Beauty and the Beast.
Wow.
Like with the chandeliers, with those giant windows that are always at night. You know, it always looks like it's at night.
Oh.
And you, like, I was walking into the movie.
Wow.
And I was just like I started like crying.
Sure. Oh my gosh.
Because this movie I'd seen when I was just a kid, you know, like, and had you don't really dream about being in it, but like, it's a whole different thing when you're experiencing what you've watched and what you've internalized for years.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
And we had the gray stuff, and it was delicious.
Now, Walt Disney World gray stuff is different from Disneyland gray stuff, right?
Yes. I want to say yes. It's been a while.
Okay.
But I think it is.
Yeah. But I've heard both are delicious. I've had the Disneyland gray stuff, and it is delicious.
It's delicious. You know what? It's a different shape. I don't know if it's a different flavor. So the gray stuff at Disney World is long. It's more like a bar shape.
Oh.
Whereas the gray stuff at Disneyland is like it's like almost a cupcake kind of a shape.
Right. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yay. Lovely. All right. Mine isn't actually a theme park, but it's an immersive experience that really made an impression on me. 3 years ago, I was on sabbatical from my job, which was such a lovely perk. And I took my kids up to San Francisco, and we went to the Exploratorium, which is, have you been to the Exploratorium?
I don't think I have, but it sounds fun.
Okay.
I mean, I want to go to a place that's called the Exploratorium.
Right? So it's sort of it's like a science museum, but everything's pretty much interactive. It's like science stuff that you can touch and manipulate, and it's really well done. And there's an extra ticket thing you can pay for if they have it going. Right now, because of the situation of the world, it is not going. But when things become safe enough to do such a thing, I highly recommend this. It's a special thing called the Tactile Dome or Tactile Dome at the Exploratorium. So it's this big kind of geodesic dome thing that's inside the Exploratorium. And inside the Tactile Dome, it's pretty much pitch black. And you go into like this little anteroom first, and you get the spiel from the person who is working it that day, and you have to take off your shoes. And then, like group by group, you're allowed to crawl into the Tactile Dome. And it's basically a series of sort of ramps and stairs and slides and areas that you have to feel your way through and crawl through. And there's all sorts of different textures and surfaces and things. It's fascinating. And the people who work the Tactile Dome also periodically go through and change the surfaces in there. So it's not necessarily always the same if you do it multiple times. It's just, it's so wonderful. And because my sense of sight was not available to me.
Taken away, right?
Yeah, you had to sort of slow down and go, and plus you didn't know where you're going, and you were crawling a lot. Sometimes you got to walk, but it was so cool and so transporting. Super, super fun. So anyway.
Was there like one path that you had to follow? It wasn't like Redwood Creek Trail where you go all over the place, or?
Right. Yeah. It was basically one path that you follow. So you come in one way and you go through all the different spots and end up everybody exits through the same spot. So it's not huge. It's like you start on the first floor and you go up like maybe a half floor above the first floor and then come back down.
Okay.
So
wow.
It was so neat. I mean, so I super cheated because that's not a theme park at all. And the theme is you have to use your senses that are not sight. But it's just so cool. It was really, really like totally immersive. That it's not a theme park experience, but it was super immersive in a way that you couldn't have, I guess, at a theme park because it was total darkness.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, they wouldn't like that at a theme park.
No.
That's neat.
It was really cool.
Awesome. I guess you didn't, make a YouTube video of that.
I did not. I think you're not allowed to we had to leave our stuff out in the,
I mean, that would make sense because then if you lost something yeah.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah. They don't want you carrying stuff in there because they don't want to have to find it for you.
Right.
Exploratorium. Nice. Super, super fun.
Yay. Well, awesome. Well, I hope everyone liked our theme park talk today. Do we have any final thoughts on theme parks? I think honestly, our discussion of being present in the moment, I think is very important. Yeah.
Because especially amusement parks and theme parks, it's easy to just be ready to go to the next thing and thinking about where we're going to eat and what we're going to do. But and all life is like this, but something about the energy at a theme park.
Yes. Well, especially I think you and I are kind of the planners of our groups.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And so it kind of falls on us to be thinking about that next thing.
Exactly. People are looking to us to keep it going. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So I get it. But yeah. So next time we go to a theme park, we should try to be more present.
Yep.
I love it.
That's my goal. Yay.
Yay. All right, everyone. Well, that is the end of another Totally Tell Me Everything.
Woohoo!
And you can connect with us on Instagram. We are at Totally Tell Me Everything. I am at Jedi Tink.
And I'm at BRYNANE.
That's right. And you can also find us on the Skywalking Through Neverland Facebook group. So you can go to Skywalking, or you can search Facebook for Skywalking Through Neverland and request to join the group, and then answer the questions that pop up. And you can email us too, share@skywalkingthroughneverland.com. I know a couple of you emailed us at the beginning, but we'd love to hear more emails. Do you have any topics that you want us to talk about, perhaps?
Or subjects you'd like us to talk about?
Subjects? Or do you have something you'd like to be called a top? No. Do you have what else a topic? What's another word?
A synonym for
Thank
topics
you.
and subjects? Yes, please.
A synonym. I can't think. It's a Friday afternoon.
It's been hot and humid. My brain is not here.
Indeed. Oh my gosh.
So help us with our vocabulary, people.
Yes, help us. So we are part of the Skywalking Network.
Skynet.
Where you can also find other great shows like Skywalking Through Neverland,
the Neverland Clubhouse,
the Max Effects Podcast,
Resilient Squadron,
Sabers and Spells,
Star Warsologies,
Collectopolis on YouTube,
and classic Marvel Star Wars comics.
And you can also sign up for the Skywalking Network newsletter. Just go to skywalkingnetwork.com and click on the link that says sign up for our newsletter.
Yay. So come sit by us next month when we will totally tell you everything about another fun topic, subject, whatever synonym somebody suggests.
Yay!
Yay!